Good morning, class! Welcome back to Human Studies 105. Today, we will be taking a look at one of the most well-known and most feared types of humans. Today, we will be looking at the category of humans known as engineers. Before I start, does anyone have any specific questions related to human engineers? A few hands, tentacles, and other appendages go up as the question is asked, and the teacher nods her head to each one. Is it true a single human engineer can make an entire battleship without external help? Are space engineers real? Are the human games like Factorio and Deep Rock Galactic played by Spifflemonk based on real human abilities? Why are human engineers so dangerous? Hearing all of the questions roll in, the teacher nods her head again, and then puts up a paw of her own to silence the now chatty class. All of these questions will be answered quickly as I give the information that was already planned today. I was hoping for something a bit more niche, but oh well. Now then, on to the lesson. Firstly, there are several types of human engineers, at least when they start out. There are electrical engineers, structural engineers, ship engineers, city engineers, and many, many more. These, however, are simply just the profession or specialization an engineer chooses early in their life. Later on, all human engineers eventually become general engineers, who can do almost all of this. Most human engineers by the age of 28 can do everything from properly planning, designing and executing simple yard work, all the way up to building a space elevator, or even bioengineering an entirely new ecosystem for their needs. There are many reasons this ends up happening, but the end result is always a human engineer with abilities bordering on magic. Now, the types of engineers we will focus on are thus: the bored engineer, the overly happy engineer, and the content engineer. A bored engineer is a thing of sheer and utter terror. When most species get bored, they will find entertainment such as television, or going out and exploring, or maybe just a simple day at a mall or beach. A bored human engineer will start to think, plan, or, void forbid, tinker. Do not, under any circumstances, let a human engineer tinker on a personal passion project they started when bored. Also keep in mind to also constantly monitor a human engineer with intervals no longer than a single human hour. If a bored engineer gets to the tinkering phase, it is already too late, and in most cases whatever they are constructing must be finished, or it will blow up. If a human engineer completes his tinkering and starts laughing, smiling, or silently petting whatever thing they have made, evacuate the ship, station, or colony you are in or on. This would mean that the engineer has gone to the second step, the overly happy engineer. If they have reached this stage, you should be running as fast as possible away from the human. If running is not an option, the council would recommend prayer. An overly happy engineer has made a working device with an unknown function, which is most likely a direct danger to the lives of everything in a kilometer's radius. This is where their early life specialization comes into play. Whatever they specialized in early on is most entertaining to them. If it is a structural engineer with a small object, the risk is minimal, and may well be something to revolutionize material science. However, if it is a nuclear, anti-material, or bioengineer, even if you are on a planetary body, urge everyone on it, human or otherwise, to evacuate. Now then, the content engineer is the one you want, always. They are a well-fed, entertained engineer with as much work as they could desire to keep their hands busy. If these conditions are all met, a human engineer will work with an efficiency 3 to 9 times that of most other species. Each one is a little different, and thus the desired workload, entertainment media, and diet should be asked of from the engineer directly. Now then, on to the next part of the lesson. Every human engineer has 3 things on their person at all times. Firstly is a nanomachine factory and storage facility embedded into their bodies. Secondly is a neural implant allowing for control over these nanomachines. Third, and finally, a human in general, but definitely an engineer, will always have a weapon. Let's look at each of these in more detail. The nanoforge/storage facility will allow the human engineers to do any work they deem necessary, and acts as the mother of all multi-tools. This means if a human were to crash land on a planet and be the sole survivor, yes, they could build a whole factory to eventually manufacture parts to escape from their planet. This means that yes, a single human with the resources could easily make a battleship single-handedly. Finally, yes, a human by itself could easily go on mining expeditions and exterminate hordes of invasive or even native insectoid hives in the search for valuable materials. The neural implant is a critical part of what makes this all possible. It is wired directly into almost every part of a human brain, and helps them in many ways. First and foremost is the fact that they can control their nanomachines like they are an extension of their body, because for all intents and purposes, they are. Secondly, it allows them to design, plan, and understand how to execute any engineering projects they may wish to conduct. It also means they can augment their bodies to unheard of levels, making things like the space engineer distinctly possible. Finally, the humans will always have a weapon on their person. Do not try to remove or take the weapon, as that will result in you, the people around you, and most likely the surrounding kilometre, to evaporate. Human weapons are downright unholy in their destructive capacity, and that's for a normal run-of-the-mill human. A human engineer, much like a human soldier, will augment, alter, and improve their weapon. A human engineer with a sword should be feared, like a demon god has descended. It may well be a fifth-dimensional sword that can cube time like a herbivore dicing their vegetables for breakfast. A human engineer with a gun? No. If they have a handheld pistol-type weapon, you're in the least danger. But still, a single shot from one will launch a projectile at 5% C at the low setting. Do not threaten engineers. Do not be deceived by looks either. The simpler the human weapon looks, likely the more dangerous and horrifying it is. If it looks like a human toy of some sort, it can probably collapse local spacetime into an inverted singularity. The more complex it looks, the more likely it is to simply fail, or misfire. If you're lucky, it just fails and nothing happens, so you get to see a human get into a fistfight. If you are unlucky, it misfires, and will kill everything on that grid section of the galactic map. A full light year of space, dead in an instant. This is why human engineers are so dangerous. Now then, it's 2 minutes to the buzzer, so I'll end class early today. As homework, I want you all to write a paper on how you think best to keep a human engineer content.